Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on iRacing for the second race here of the Nitro Racing League since we've made this turn into iRacing. Of course, we still got the league on the NASCAR heat side, but race number 2 coming at Homestead, Miami for 133 laps here at this mile-and-a-half. One of the most unique mile-and-a-half circuits on the NASCAR schedule. This is my favorite track to drive personally, so I'm very excited to come to this race. We qualified in the 3rd position there. Andrew Wisdom qualified on the pole position. Joseph, our teammate on Brush Style and Motorsports, qualified P2, as well as my other teammate Bryce there P4, and then we had Matt O'Brien up just a little bit behind us, like by 1 spot or 2 now, as we were getting ready though to get going. The last week's winner of Alex Visalio actually did not make this race, so makes it maybe a little bit easier on myself now as we would get ready to take the green flag here in the Nitro Racing League for race number 2 on the season. Now as we get ready here behind Andrew Wisdom, definitely going to be the driver to watch for today now as the green flag is out and we are underway here from Homestead, Miami. You see the new fresh paint on the car, I should say, made by Dale Cole Jr. there. So a beautiful, beautiful paint scheme. There's Bryce, goes sideways already through turns 1. We got problems right off the bat, but he saves it. Surprisingly, no caution, and thank goodness our teammate Matt did not run into the back of him. It was a very close call for Matt there as we go into turn 3 side by side with Joseph. The main thing right off the bat was that we knew we had to save tires here, and I was just really trying to match pace with Andrew. That was my main goal here, is if I can run what Andrew's running, I'll be confident that we're saving the tires that we need to save, and hopefully later in the run it will come into our favor now as we come through turns 1 and 2. Joseph making it out on the outside there of Andrew, but unfortunately I knew that he was probably hurting his tires right here a little bit too much now as it goes down the back straightaway with 133 laps and no guaranteed cautions. Of course, we don't have any stages or anything here in the Nitro Racing League on the iRacing side now as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4. Andrew would actually get back clear there of Joseph as he went down this front stretch. So we would just kind of maintain 3rd place, but we come through a few laps later now. Lap 4, the 88 there of Alec Caron was actually pushing his tires really hard, and he would just drive right on by me. I didn't challenge him. I said, okay, go ahead, take the position, and hopefully the longer the run goes, it will come into our advantage here as we go down into turn 3. So we dropped down to the 4th position here as we went down into the corner. Now on lap 7, you see Alec had run down Andrew and was making a move on him now to take the lead as we came through on the backstretch into turns 3 on lap 8. So we still run P4. Brad Sivers was actually closing the gap a bit to us, but we actually started to open it back up as the run went on now as we came through turns 3 and 4. You see there, Joseph decided to actually run the high line there. He said right up in the voice chat to us that he was just going to try something different. Pretty evident that it did not work because we're now alongside him as we go down into turns 1 here, and we're going to easily blow by to take the 3rd position here in Miami. So now we're going to try and set our sights maybe on those top 2 drivers of Andrew as well of Alec, as well as Alec there in that 88 car now. As you see Brad just a little bit closer there as we went down into turns 3 now on lap 10, but you see the 88 still in command right now over 2nd place of Andrew. But like I said, he really burned up his tires, and that would start to show as the run went on. We came through to lap 14. Now Andrew actually getting past Alec there as Joseph was still battling it out behind us with Brad as we came through out of turns 4. As we're now starting to close the gap in on that 88 car as we come down the front stretch. So we come through on lap 17, a little bit closer now to the back of that 88 as we just continue to slowly but surely reel him in as the laps goes on. Now as we come through on lap 21, even closer to the back of the 88. There's Andrew though. He's in command at this point. A breeze for him at the point of this race here at the front of the field now as we came through a few laps later. Lap 24, even closer. So now is trying to strategize how am I going to complete this pass. Now is obviously we want to be on the bottom to make this pass it's the easiest way around, so I was hoping that we could maybe get to the bottom of him here as we come through on lap 28. About 5 laps later, even closer now is Andrew, so just over 2 seconds ahead of the field at this point as we close in on lap 30. So of course we get right to the back now of the 88 of Alec as we came through now. It wasn't until lap 35 to where I got a legitimate chance though to actually pass Alec. We come through out of the corner now 2.2 seconds behind Andrew Wisdom now as we come through to cross the line. I had been working on the last handful of laps to pass him, but this was finally when I got my legitimate chance to make it happen there as he actually gets into the outside wall through turns 1 and 2 and makes the pass easy for us. So we get up into 2nd, but in my rear view mirror I saw both Edward as well as Matt, our teammate, and Lee Goner, of course, close closing in very quickly on the back of us here as we go down into turn 3, as Andrew still 2.2 seconds out in front at this point now as we come through on lap 39. We had actually now dropped down to 2.5 seconds behind, and then Eddie and Matt would actually get to the back of us, and they had fresher tires than us at this point, or I should say they saved their tires better than we did at this point now. So unfortunately, I knew I really didn't have much to fight them, but we still had enough pace in the car to actually maintain with them. Now as the 88, he tried to get up my inside. I let Eddie go, but I did not let the 88 go because he fought me so hard, so I decided to fight him hard back. And we would maintain third position. So we come through now on lap 42. Matt had moved his way up into P4 behind us, as we're still P3, going past a lap car there of the 35 of James Matherly now, as we go down the front straightaway just in front of Matt O'Brien now. Is actually the 35 gets into the outside wall down the front straightaway, hits the inside wall, goes sliding back onto the track, and that's actually going to bring out the first caution of the day there. As you see, I think that was Gary Bingaman who almost got into him now, as the caution is out for the first time here today in Homestead, Miami. As you see, the sun starting to set now. This will end under the night conditions, but we came into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, very easy call, and we actually gained a spot and came out P2 as we get ready for the restart. So now being on the front row with Andrew Wisdom, he would go a little bit early there now as the green flag is back out now, as like I said, he just went earlier than the green lights, which is not a problem at all. He just earlier than I thought he was going to go, I should say, now as we go down into turns 1. So side by side there with Matt O'Brien. There's he goes sideways too, just like Bryce did on the opening lap. He's sideways, hangs on to it. What a beautiful paint scheme, by the way, on that car, but he hangs on. So now we're back in second place here as we dive down into turn 3, and immediately I'm thinking about saving the tires, of course, making sure we don't overdrive this thing. So we come through on lap 49. Eddie gets to the inside. I say, just have the spot. I'm not going to fight you. Just go right on by as we give him the position. So we drop back down to the third position now as we came through a little bit later on lap 54. Now 80 or so laps to go here in this race, as we had a little bit of pressure from behind from Bryce. He was using up his tires a little bit more than we were, so I wasn't too concerned to fight him or anything now as we went down the backstretch. If he was going to make a move, I was just going to give it to him. Sure enough, here as we went down into turn 3, he would be able to make that move up my inside, and I just, like I said, let him have it now as the 88 was closing in to the back of us now as we came through out of turns 4, going down this front stretch behind the 2 car of Bryce. And then Bryce would get on the move. He would get up the inside of Eddie here a few laps later, now on lap 59, 75 laps ago. He would pass him for second place. So it was pretty evident that Bryce was using up a lot more tire than myself was, as well as Eddie and Andrew. So now we would all run down Andrew, as he was really saving his tires at this point. Now as the 88 would get up my inside, and once again I decided, you know what, I'm going to fight him because he fought us so hard earlier in the race now as we go down this back straightaway now just behind Eddie. So we're in like a 3-car train on the outside here as we dive down into turns 3, just trying to maintain. But I let the 88 actually slide in right there because it was pretty evident he really wanted that spot. He was willing to use his tires for it, so I said, okay, take it away now as we go down this front stretch. 69 laps to go at this point. Nice now as we go down into turns 1, just behind Alec there now as he puts the pressure on the back of Eddie. But now you saw Bryce actually in my windshield got to the inside of Andrew out of turns 2, so Bryce would actually take over the lead here in Homestead, Miami now. And as we came through now to 68 laps to go, Alec had worked his way past Andrew and even got to the inside of Bryce as it came through out of turns 4, and we were just really saving our tires so much that we now have Brad Severs in the picture behind us now, as he would be able to run us down to 67 laps ago as we went down into turns 1. So it was Bryce and Alec battling up front for the lead, but Alec would get past Bryce there and just run away now as we came through out of turns 2, heading down this back straightaway a little bit close there with the 83 of Brad Severs now. But we're coming to 66 laps ago. Brad's still working on trying to pass me as we dive down into turn 3. Now as there's contact up ahead between Andrew and Bryce. Bryce goes sideways, hangs onto it as we nearly run into the back of Eddie. Then the 83 got into Eddie just a little bit there, and I get on the brakes here to make sure nothing goes wrong. But we're going to get a quick replay of what just happened. Everybody keeps it straight. No caution now, as you're going to see right here. Andrew, I think, just kind of misjudged it or something. He just kind of barely came up. Just a racing incident. And Bryce, unfortunately, got the worst end of it, but he kept it straight, so no harm done. Now, as we would all continue on our way here, side by side still with Brad Severs, but we go into turn 3, and I said, okay, you know what? I'll just get him in the corner here and try to get him out of turns 4. So we come through out of the corner trying to get to the inside. Yes, we cross him over now as we go down the front straightaway side by side with Brad now as we came through turns 3 and 4 the next lap. 63 to go. We would finally actually be able to get ahead of him here as we went down this front straightaway, and as we came through now through turns 1 and 2, we would clear him here on lap 72 as as we go down this back straightaway, but he would of course not give up without a fight. He tries to get back to my outside, and I give him the outside as we dive down into turn 3, side by side still with Brad. He actually now goes a little bit up the track here as he kind of just slowly glides up to the point where he gets into the outside wall out of turn 4. He comes crashing down into the right rear quarter panel of Gary Bingaman, who goes crashing head on into the outside wall, and the caution is going to come out for the second time here tonight in Miami now, as we are going to be P4 at the time of the caution. And of course we come to the pit lane here and put once again 4 tires on the car, and I just had a terrible exit, and next thing you know we get beat by Matt Chaffee off the pit lane, and somehow they call me ahead of the 11 of Eddie, and Andrew actually was behind us. He had some issues there, so we were going to be P3 for the restart here behind the 88 of Alec, who waits for the green lights to go, and we get back going underway now. As I would really like if we had like a rule actually to wait for the green lights to take the green flag, kind of like they have in the core league now, as we go down into turns 1 side by side with Matt Chaffee there, the 11 of Eddie just behind Chaffee now as we come through out of turn 2. We're going to be side by side with Matt now as we were clear for a moment there, but I did not come up in front of him. They're behind us. Joseph, he's gone sliding all over the place into the inside wall, but the green flag stays out. He kept it straight, but that was a bit of a moment now as we come through turn 3. Chaffee now to the front, but he's sideways again out of turns 4. What a save by Matt Chaffee as we went down the front stretch. Things getting very intense at this point here in Miami as we go into turns 1. Now in the second position is Eddie. He would get to my inside for a moment there, and as we came through now into turn 3 on lap 78, he gets back up the inside, and at this point I'm like, okay, once again we got to save our tires, so I was not really going to fight Eddie at all now as we came through out of turn 4. Eddie, one of the drivers I respect a lot in the league, so just no point in fighting him when we still have quite a bit of time to go now, and I don't want to waste my tires. Like I said, is now Bryce as well. He gets up my inside, and I saw Andrew coming as well. We know Andrew the fastest one here now as we come through turns 1 and 2, so we lose that spot to Bryce, and then I just kind of let Andrew go as well, and then we're going to try and fade in behind them and see what we can do with the tires. So they would actually start battling though side by side up at the front of the field here between Eddie, Alec, Bryce, and Andrew all up there battling away now as we came through out of turns 4. As I was actually in a current conversation here with Brad, just getting communication about that wreck from earlier now as we came through out of turns 2. The 35 staying out of the way there as we go past him down the backstretch. He was multiple laps down at this point. But we continue on into turns 3 now as Bryce, he had taken the lead and had driven away. He was trying to actually drive as far away as he could and then pit and then try to run us all down again with fresh tires. And we were very curious if that strategy was going to work. I decided to play the game that everybody else was playing other than him as we went down now on lap 93, 39 laps to go here as we went down into turns 1, just behind Eddie, who would now drift down into 4th place. We were still running P5 as Bryce was just continuing to give it everything he had and abuse his tires, but now we were actually starting to reel Bryce in, so he had to come into the pit lane very, very soon, and of course he would actually make that pit stop now as we came through on now after lap 100. We were up to P4 because Bryce had come into the pit lane, and I can tell you he was extremely fast on those tires. But you see on the bottom of the track up ahead, there's a car going slow into turn 3, and that is the 35 car now, as he had actually blown an engine and his car would come to a stop on the apron. Caution comes out. Bryce's strategy gets completely destroyed, and now it is going to leave for a late race restart here in the Nitro League, where we would once again come in, put 4 tires on it now as we entered P4, and we're going to come out here in P3. They're almost getting into the back of the 23 of Andrew there as he got a little bit slow on the exit, but we would be P3 for the restart. So there could be still 2 approaches to what could be this final restart. Do we push hard with 24 laps to go, or do we save our tires and try to, you know, give it everything we got at the end of the run now as we get underway, though, with 23 laps to go there at the line. So myself and Andrew side by side, we had a pretty decent launch there as we went down into turns 1, but Alec Caron leads the way through turns 1 and turns 2. We're going to be still side by side with Andrew through the exit of the corner there. A little bit loose there on the exit, but nothing that I couldn't deal with now as we go down this back straightaway just behind Andrew as he goes side by side though with Alec into turn 3. Pretty evident Andrew's going to be aggressive right off the bat. Now as we come through out of turns 4, we are sideways big time there out of turns 4. We make a big save down the front stretch and hang on. That was actually Brad Severs goes crashing behind, and he's going to nearly hit the outside wall. No, he doesn't. He hangs on to it, or keeps it off the wall at least. Caution comes out, and we hang on to P4, but here's a replay of my POV of that save now as it came through out of turns 4. You see the car just gets away from me, and I'm doing everything I can kind of stay in it at the same time. Thankfully, we kept the car straight, and then the caution came out because we were going to lose a lot of positions because you see, actually, Joseph and Matt Chaffee got to my outside, but thankfully, we were actually granted the 4th position still. So we would get back underway for the next restart where Andrew goes once again before the green lights. Now, as we get back going, still, like I said, absolutely nothing wrong with what he was doing, but it was definitely catching some people off guard, you could tell, as we went down into turns 1. So we settle in on the inside lane here in P4, trying to get to the inside of Alex. So now, only 17 laps to go. It's pretty evident that we're going to have to be aggressive here and try to move our way forwards now, as Andrew's strategy was definitely to push hard at the beginning and drive away there. As actually got off the throttle to fade in behind the 88, who now goes up the inside of Eddie in the 11 cars, who come through out of turns 4, trying to put the pressure on Alec now. So we're going to be side by side down the front straightaway. 16 laps remain at this point here in Homestead, Miami, and as we dive down into turns 1, the 88's going to fight back up the inside, but doesn't quite have enough there to hang on. So we actually get the position and now move up into P3 as I would run down Eddie now with 15 laps to go, and immediately I'm like, you know what, Andrew's driving away, I want to do the same thing. So I try to put the fight to Eddie as we dive down into turns 3, and I found out very quickly that Eddie was not going to give up that position very easily as we came through out of turns 4. He fights back on the outside, and like I said, he was not going to give up that spot easily, which was kind of frustrating at this point. I won't lie, I was definitely frustrated because he was actually saving his tires. He's thinking long term at this point, but I could tell he was doing that, and that's why it was frustrating me more that he's on a kind of a quote-unquote different strategy, but he's still fighting me really hard. Can't blame him at all. He's trying to hang on to 2nd place. So we come through to 10 laps ago, still fighting Eddie here on the inside lane, as now Andrew's tire wear might start to come into effect very soon, and I was completely destroying my tires as well as we came through out of turns 4, nearly making contact with Eddie, and now I realize, well, I've screwed up because we've let Bryce get to my outside as well as we go down into turns 1, and unfortunately, I mean, myself and Eddie completely costed each other a lot of time there, as none of us were willing to give up that fight now as we came through out of turns 2, and that very well possibly costed Eddie a chance at victory, and myself as well now as we go down towards turns 1 on 7 laps to go. My right front tire was destroyed at this point. I had nothing for Alex, so now this was the worst the car had been compared to other drivers the whole race, which was very disappointing because Matt, he would run me down, and well, he would also be able to pass me now as we came to the 5 laps to go, and this is when Andrew's tire wear would really start to come into effect as Eddie would start to pick up that pace compared to him, as I would fight Matt down the backstretch, but it was pretty evident that I wasn't going to be able to hold him off as we went down into turns 3. He would be able to drive right on by me as they were side by side between the 88 and Bryce. So we come straight to the final lap at this point, and I had nothing now as Bryce was up there in P4, Matt P5, Alec 3rd, and Eddie was actually to the back of Andrew as they came through out of turn 2. He's about 2 car lengths behind as we go down this back straightaway for the final time here in the Nitro Racing League for race number 2. So it's going to be P6 if we hang on as we dive down into turns 3 for the final time here in Homestead, Miami. Right on the bottom, a bit of a mistake from myself, but it's Andrew who's actually going to be able to win here in Miami, and we're going to exit turns 4 for a P6 finish here at Miami, just in front of 7th place there of Matt Chaffee. So a little bit disappointing because we definitely had a better car than 6th place. So yeah, like I said, disappointing. But you know what? A decent result there as Bryce actually wrecked Andrew after the race in retaliation for that moment earlier where Andrew took him out. There was actually if a car got airborne there. But yeah, a little bit disappointing, like I said. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you do know what to do as we come through to congratulate Andrew there. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode. I'll show the points in the next one for race number 3. But yeah, like I said, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.